Led by a budding superstar in Anthony Edwards, the Minnesota Timberwolves have made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons for the first time in 19 years. But despite obvious reasons for optimism, the Timberwolves' outlook isn't as promising as it should be. Backed into a tricky corner from a team-building perspective, Minnesota's best chance to build around one star might be by trading another. Edwards is evolving into the type of star championship teams can eventually be built around. In just his third season, the 21-year-old earned his first All-Star selection, averaging 24.6 points, 5.8 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and 1.6 steals while suiting up in 79 games. His overall efficiency remains a work in progress, but as an improving long-range shooter, Ant's numbers should continue to trend upwards. Plus, there's something to be said for having the confidence and shot-creating ability necessary to carry a team's offense the way Edwards already does Minnesota's. That audacity is the reason the Timberwolves survived a turbulent 2022-23 campaign. A calf injury limited Karl Anthony Towns to just 29 games. The Timberwolves overhauled their team at the trade deadline only months after starting the season with an already remade roster, and the squad was dealing with some serious infighting by the end of the year. Yet Minnesota won 42 regular season games and a play-in contest to make the playoffs, thanks in large part to the fact Edwards logged more time on the court than any player besides Mikal Bridges this season. The durable youngster then averaged more than 31 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds in a 5-game first-round series loss to top-seeded Denver. Edwards, who's missed just 13 games through 3 seasons, has answered the bell just about every time the Timberwolves have asked him to. He's also still only on his rookie scale contract, which would usually mean the possibilities for his team are endless, especially with a 27-year-old all-star teammate under long-term team control. But the Timberwolves situation is an unusual one. By trading multiple rotation players, 4 first-round draft picks, and a 5th pick swap to pry Rudy Gobert out of Utah last summer, the Wolves already moved the type of trade capital that often nets another game-changing star, but they didn't actually get game-changing on-court value out of it. Gobert's still one of the game's best rim protectors, but the 30-year-old is beginning to show signs of decline. And with 3 years and up to $131.5 million left on Gobert's contract, the Wolves won't be able to flip him for surplus value anytime soon. Elsewhere, the Wolves have some intriguing young talent between defensive standout Jaden McDaniels, bench big Naz Reid, reserve Jalen Noel, and reclamation project Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Plus, Kyle Anderson and Taurean Prince could make for trade bait on cheap deals. But Reid, Noel, and Alexander-Walker are all pending free agents, while Anderson and Prince were important vets this season. You're not turning those guys into an all-star without picks that the Wolves don't have, and they're not easily replaceable if you're just shuffling them around for other role players.
What do you mean? We don't have many options, do we?
It's starting to feel like the Kevin Garnett era again in Minnesota, when the Timberwolves made 8 straight postseason appearances but only got out of the first round once. Without a genuine co-star beside Garnett, and with the franchise reeling from having to forfeit multiple first-rounders due to the Joe Smith scandal, the Wolves failed to capitalize on KG's otherworldly talents before trading him to Boston in 2007. Garnett never had a Minnesota teammate as good as Edwards has in Cat, but that doesn't mean it will work out any better this time around. For one, Towns' durability has become a concern. After missing just 5 games total over his first 4 seasons, the big man has missed 112 games over the last 4 years. Perhaps more concerning, however, is what Cat does, or rather doesn't do, when he is on the court. The 3-time All-Star is still an uber-efficient offensive star, but his passiveness can hamper the Wolves. It's great that a 6'11 guy can shoot the way Towns does. It's not so great when a 6'11 guy shoots fadeaway jumpers over opponents half his size on a switch or mismatch. It's great that even in a down year, Towns still averaged roughly 21 points on 62% true shooting. It's not great that only 30% of his shot attempts came at the rim, a 16th percentile mark among big men according to Cleaning the Glass. For as many times as Towns' teammates fail to get him the ball or to give it to him in the right spots, issues made worse by cramped spacing with Gobert in the mix, There are twice as many instances where Towns himself isn't demanding enough to get the ball or aggressive enough to bully his way to the right spots. Those deficiencies are magnified during the postseason. Towns has averaged 23 points per game and more than 23 field goal attempts per 100 possessions in the regular season, with a couple good play-in performances now on his resume. But in 16 playoff games, during which Minnesota has gone 4-12, he's averaged 18.6 points while attempting just 18 shots per 100 possessions. The self-proclaimed greatest shooting big man ever also sees his efficiency dip in the postseason. With Cat's offensive abilities, defenses should be terrified of sending extra bodies anywhere else on the court. But it's Edwards that the Nuggets were worried about during their first-round series. Because opponents see what we all do, and what Jimmy Butler tried to tell us years ago. Karl Anthony Towns just isn't wired to dominate at the level his skill set should allow him to.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
In many ways, he's the antithesis of everything Edwards is. Cat tells us he's him after winning a random regular season game upon his return from injury.
This is what movies is made of. 4 months away, I come back, 2 free throws, don't worry about it. I got that.
Then disappears when the lights are brightest. Ant grabs that spotlight by the horns and shows us he's him. As a super skilled big who isn't wired for a #1 role, you might think Towns makes the perfect Robin to Edwards' Batman, but it's not that simple. The Wolves have holes to fill elsewhere, as evidenced by the fact the team barely broke even with both stars on the court this season. Minnesota could run it back, hope Cat stays healthy, Ant takes another leap, and see what the duo can do in a full season together. But that'll likely produce more mediocrity, and a very expensive brand of it going forward. With a ceiling on what they can do together and limited avenues to improve otherwise, flipping Towns is the Wolves' only path towards finding a better co-star for Edwards immediately, or acquiring the type of trade capital that helps net that star in the future. The Knicks and Nets both have young talent and picks to offer up for the New Jersey native. Would Towns be the caliber of player who can get the Thunder to cash in their chips and win now? Perhaps the Raptors and Wolves feel swapping Towns for Pascal Siakam makes sense? The Rockets have a boatload of picks and are reportedly considering fast-tracking their rebuild. Having said all that, Towns' massive contract, which contains a player option for 2027-28 worth more than $60 million, could prove to be a hindrance, given all the questions we've raised about him. So moving him may not be as easy as it sounds. If that's the case, Minnesota's best chance to win with Anthony Edwards might be hoping Ant can make a dog out of a cat.
We don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.